Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of AWM Insights. We're continuing our series on developing a sound investment portfolio. The focus today is how to make your portfolio human-centered. So we've covered the how and why of developing a best-in-class portfolio, kind of the foundational principles of this overall topic. And today we're going to go away from the numbers and more to the people side of things. Like I said, the human-centered side. How do we actually make a portfolio human-centered? How do we bridge that gap, if you want to call it, or bridge those topics rather? And the first question let's jump into is really, why does this matter? Why do we consider and really optimize to the human and consider ourselves a human-centered organization?
Yeah, and I think the most important question in that is, why do we invest at all? Like, why?
It's a good one.
Yeah, and I think really, just speaking blandly, you invest to make money, but that's not the end all be all. Ideally, you invest to make money and use that money to do something with. And typically that's something that's important to you. So that purpose really is the true reason of why you invest. If you're only investing to make money, that's not enough. You should be investing with a purpose and with a goal in mind, which, ultimately creates even more purpose. So we talk about it all the time. Money is a tool, and you need to really find your why in this situation, and everyone's why is going to be different.
Totally. Yeah, and I love that. It's I think really, hopefully really resonating to everyone listening in this day and age, because we live in this day of kind of heightened awareness, super awareness around oneself and health and wellness and all that stuff. We've been thinking about this really since the founding days of AWM, and it's cool to see this age of broader just awareness and consideration of why, of purpose, etc. And we really don't think investing should be excluded from that. Obviously, there's also a great quote. I think I've said it on the podcast plenty of times, but you talked about returns. But with a purpose, really. No one's ever going to lay on their deathbed and say, oh, yes, I beat the S&P 500, or, go pick your benchmark. What they will remember is what the impact was that their money, their portfolio had on their lives and the lives of others. And really, that's kind of core to what we're talking about here. So you said money is a tool. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, and I think your point about just the scorecard that you set, or the bar that you set, is so important, because money is a tool, and the way I think about it is money's like a ticket. It's a ticket to get you somewhere, but it's not the destination. You have a destination. Money's the tool that helps you get there, but it's not the end point. If you're taking the subway, you take the subway to travel a distance. You don't just stay on the subway forever because it's fun and you're moving around and, I don't know, your portfolio is accumulating money. Like, if that's what you're doing, then good for you, but that's not what I want to do. I want to get on, a subway, a flight, to get to my destination, because ultimately that's what matters. So your personal values shape where you want to go, shape your destination. And ultimately it really helps you build, I would say, a solid foundation and relationship with money in general. So I would encourage people to really think about their destination.
So unpack that a little bit. I'm going to be devil's advocate here. I think a lot of people maybe look at the financial media, or just media in general, and have a tendency to say, oh, I need to invest in this, I need to invest in that, and kind of keep up with the Joneses, or whatever, anecdote you want to apply to it. Like, if that's the way someone thinks, how would we reply to that?
Yeah, and I really would, I would still validate the fact that it's important to make money. Ultimately, that's a big component as to why we invest, and you need to have a best-in-class portfolio that helps you make money. But if that's the only point, then really what you're going to cause yourself is you're going to cause yourself consistent comparison anxiety. You're probably going to make bad decisions at some point because of the element of keeping up with the Joneses that you you brought up, you're going to be chasing things that might not matter to you or be irrelevant or just unsuitable for your situation. And I think really what that causes is just general unhappiness, and you're just going to be not at ease, and you're going to be thinking about how you can make your next buck at night, where there's significantly more important things in your life to be thinking about.
Yeah, I think at the heart of what we're talking about is a reframing. We're not talking about de-emphasizing returns. We're talking about reframing how we interpret and consider returns and optimizing returns.
Yeah.
Given those goals. So we've talked a decent amount of philosophy here. Let's bring it to the application level. What does this actually turn into when we're building a portfolio?
Yeah, and I would say it turns into specific intentions and goals that really create the building blocks for your portfolio. So once you identify your intention, set your intention, you can use your money to shore up each individual intention on that end. You have 3 kids, they all want to go to school. You can build specific buckets, like sub portfolios we like to think about, where you're funding each child's education depending on, how old they are, where they want to go to school, and all of these intentions. They're small building blocks. Like to think about them as Legos. They all compile together and build the portfolio that ideally you want to have and hold, and is the most efficient portfolio for you to achieve all of those micro intentions, if you will. So ultimately, that's liability-driven investing, and we've harped on this a million times. But the building blocks, the individual Lego pieces, are foundational and so important to make sure that you fulfill all of these goals. And really tying back to the previous point, it becomes a lot less about just making dollars and it becomes more so about making your dollars count for what you're trying to achieve. So that's really a one point in time assessment. Obviously, lives are ever changing.
Very dynamic. Yep.
Yeah. You had 3 kids and now you have 4. So now you have 4 kids' colleges that you have to
don't remind me.
pay for. But yeah, there's also a part of this where there's constant reflection, there's constant adjustment that needs to be made, whether you want to pay for all 4 kids' colleges or not. You maybe stick it to them at some point, whether you want to buy them cars, help them with down payments, help them with their weddings. All of these constant reflections need to be made. And ideally, that's where you talk to your family office to make sure that you're constantly aligned with your portfolio and your assets.
Yeah, that's great. I'm going to go back to this idea of this is a reframing, but comparing to how the common practices actually implemented via what's called a model portfolio. I want to draw a differentiation here. Those are fine applications. They're very one size fits all. We use that term, and for the masses, I would say what we're talking about here is reframing the purpose of money, number one, but then optimizing an actual portfolio given that purpose and still maximizing returns given that optimization. Hopefully that all makes sense to everyone here. So bringing this all together, right? Like I said, it's not a set it and forget it strategy as is quite common in our industry. This is tailored to every single individual client's goals and purposes, which is hopefully something that gives a lot more meaning to your money. That's a whole idea here. But kind of from a more traditional portfolio construction standpoint, it also is more resilient, right? It's managed to your specific needs. It's not just, hey, we're going to put all of our clients that are 32 years old and with X amount of assets into the same portfolio, which is also very common in this industry. It is built in a way that is resilient and risk managed to your specific needs, which I think is a very, very strong point to make. And it adapts and grows. Like you said, it's not a set it and forget it. It's not a point in time. This is something that moves and ebbs and flows on a constant basis. I mean, leading our trading team, something you guys we all you look at on a daily basis. Is the portfolio updated to reflect changes in a client's life that we're gleaning from conversations with you all? If you happen to not be a client of AWM and you're listening to this, I really would try to leave you with this question. Ask yourself, what is the real purpose behind your investment portfolio? And are you using your money as a tool to achieve it? I mean, that's a simple question. And if you're not able to answer that, it's something we'd love to talk about. So with that, we'll wrap today. Next episode is going to be the final episode of this series, and it's really about implementing. We've touched on high level construction, but what are the actual investments, the building blocks, the term you used earlier, Mina, but what are the investments that we should actually utilize to construct this portfolio? And that will give us a really solid framework over the what will be 4 episodes in this series of how we think about this, how we think about building portfolios, some different takes on it, some reframing like we've talked about, and then the actual implementation thereof. So hopefully this has been helpful. Please listen to the next one, and we'll wrap this up. But until then, own your wealth, make an impact, and always be a pro.